When watching Buddhist monks quietly walking for peace, have you ever wondered what they are learning and practicing in each of those footsteps? What lessons are they learning from the road they walk, from silence, from overcoming fatigue, and from the very real emotions that arise in the mind? How long will the monks who walk for peace continue to learn, and how do they learn in order to maintain that peace and then spread it to the world around them? And if we, those living ordinary daily life, also wish to practice along that path, where should we begin? The answer does not lie in learning to become someone else, but in the way we learn from our own life itself. In Buddhism, all of these questions are illuminated through the Third Vow, the vow to learn the infinite Dharma doors. This vow reminds us that the teachings of the world are limitless, and the path of learning is also vast. Each breath, each step, and each circumstance can become a lesson if we know how to stop, observe, learn, and arrive at peace. Hello, I am Teng from the meditation channel Lotuszentan Each Hour. Please watch this entire video and together explore the Third Vow. This vow reminds us to continue learning and practicing mindfulness with perseverance amid the constant changes of impermanent life, and we too can practice on our own, just like these Buddhist monks walking for peace. Please subscribe to the channel, press like, share, or leave a comment so that we can continue accompanying one another in the next videos. We also know that when our hearts have opened to understand our own difficulties and pain, and those of others, we begin to notice our more subtle questions quietly arising. If difficulties and suffering are still present everywhere in life, how can we learn to walk through them without being swept away or exhausted by resistance? The Buddhist monks walking for peace do not only walk with compassion, but also walk with deep understanding of the very path they are on. Each of their steps is not a reaction to circumstances, but the results of long-term learning and steady practice in daily life. They understand that compassion, if not supported by the understanding of wisdom, can easily turn into fatigue, disappointment, and exhaustion. Therefore, alongside opening their hearts, they also choose to expand their learning in order to clearly understand the nature of suffering and the path to ending suffering. When observing more closely, we see that they do not walk according to habit or momentary emotions, but according to ways that nourish body and mind through each breath, allowing them to remain peaceful, happy, and harmonious. From here, we begin to feel that the peace they carry does not come from emotion, but from understanding cultivated through long and patience learning in every step they take. Learning here is not only accumulating knowledge or memorizing teachings, but also learning how to live fully and bring the teachings into whatever is unfolding in each present moment. Learning how to breathe peacefully when tensions appear, learning how to work when the mind is unsettled, and learning how to stop when we are accustomed to reacting too quickly. Now let us bring our attention to the breath in and out so the mind can be relaxed and clear. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose. Fill your chest and reach down to your belly. Exhale with the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. Each breath is one moment in which we observe the changes of body and mind and recognize the lesson that needs to be learned. It is this continuous learning that helps the monks not lose their way amid difficulties. Even though external conditions are always changing and full of challenges, and even though a long period of hardship do not disturb them. When turning back to ourselves, we also realize that much suffering arises from living without truly understanding how we are living. We often act hastily according to our habits, react mechanically from our emotions, and repeat familiar paths, sinking into them without much awareness to recognize what is happening. We rarely stop to learn from the tensions, disappointments, or wounds quietly operating within body and mind, so that they no longer disturb us when we face them again. But when watching the monks walk slowly, we see another way of living being expressed very clearly. It is a way of living in which each moment becomes a lesson if we are quietly enough to observe. And then we begin to understand that to walk a path of lasting peace, we need to keep learning in every moment of life, moving from teachings that have been explained into actual practice. It is at this point that the third vow in Buddhism gradually opens as a very gentle yet profound invitation. The vow to learn the infinite Dharma does not say that we must know a great deal, but reminds us to always be willing to learn from this life, learning from recognizing and adjusting a hurried breath, learning from the hurried step, and learning from pleasant or unpleasant emotions that we have not yet clearly understood. Buddhist monks do not see difficulties as obstacles, but as materials for learning and transformation. Therefore, even when walking amid cold winds or scarcity, they are still able to maintain stability in each step, not because they do not feel hardships, but because they have learned how to stay with hardships without resisting it. And it is this learning that allows them to continue walking without losing inner peace. When looking back at ourselves, we can begin very simply by learning from whatever is pleasant right now, learning from an incomplete breath, learning from an uncomfortable sensation, or learning from a familiar reaction that has just arisen, then observing and recognizing it each time it appears so that peace can follow. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose. Fill your chest and reach down to your belly. Exhale with the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. Each breath, each step, each emotion that arises can become a vivid life lessons if we return to observe with an open heart. We do not need to fix ourselves immediately, nor do we need to become someone else to begin this path. What is necessary is simply a willingness to learn from our own real life, without adding or subtracting, without hiding anything. Like a monk's walking for peace, they learn from the road beneath their feet and from each moment passing by as their body and mind are operating. And from here, our journey continues not through strained effort to change ourselves, but through mindfulness and a love of learning, where peace naturally appears. When we learn to live more deeply in each moment, the third vow is no longer a distant aspiration, but becomes the very path we are walking. The third vow reminds us to continue perseverant in learning and practicing mindfulness amid constant change of impermanent life, but an invitation to expand our sense of presence in each moment of the in and out breath unfolding right now. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose. Feel the chest and reach down to your belly. Exhale with the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. When we form the habit of remembering and frequently caring for the companion who is always with us, the breath, our mindful observation of body and mind becomes increasingly precise. But if we cling too tightly to an unconscious ideal model, it will force us to carry the pressures of having to understand correctly, act correctly, and live according to an ideal mode, making us rigid and causing us to forget all the lesson. The vow to learn infinite Dharma is not about accumulating knowledge or proving understanding to anyone. This vow gently reminds us to learn how to see ourselves clearly in very ordinary situations of daily life. Learning is not about memorizing more concepts, but about seeing clearly the reactions that arise before we can gently and timely bring mindful intention to intervene. Learning is not collecting ideas, but seeing clearly habits, motivation, and fears are silently guiding us every day. When we clearly see what is happening in body and mind, understanding naturally arises without forcing. The teachings becomes profoundly useful when we truly understand and practice them in a timely way right here and now. And when put into practice, each step of the Buddhism becomes a vivid living lesson written through direct experience, making teachings that once seemed like guidance becomes deeply absorbed. They learn from the good touching their skin, from the slight fatigue of the body, and from the mind's very real reactions and struggles, nor do they try to turn them into something special or sacred. In modern life in America, we often see failure as a sign of mistake or inadequacy. But in the light of the vow of learning, failure becomes a Dharma door that helps us clearly see our tendency to control. Each time you lose patience with a loved one or a colleague, that is not a failure of practice. It is a very concrete invitation to return and observe what is operating within you. When we learn in order to understand, we become gentler with ourselves and with others. That gentleness helps us adjust naturally without denying or judging ourselves. Observe the monks walking for peace. They do not know what they will encounter on the road today, yet they continue to walk with a spirit ready to learn from every condition that is present right now. You do not need to fix or improve yourself, only to remain silent and allow learning to unfold naturally. When the mind settles, learning is no longer a burden but becomes a gentle flow. Inhale gently, follow the breath as it flows through your nose. Feel your chest and reach down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. The breath becomes the most honest teachers and friends because it immediately reflects our inner state. When we rush, the breath becomes quick. When we resist, the breath becomes tense. When we allow, the breath naturally becomes deeper and softer. The vow of learning invites us to view each uncomfortable emotions as a lesson that needs to be listened to. Instead of seeing emotions as problems to eliminate, we begin to see them as guide. When you allow yourself to learn from confusion, doubt, and fatigue, the pressures to be perfect gradually dissolve. This path is not straight and not fast, but deep enough to transform us through each small step with mindfulness, because observation itself is our teacher. Buddhist teachers understand this, so they choose to patiently continue rather than forcing results. From continuous learning in each moment like this, we gradually enter a more complete way of mindful living. When practicing the third vow of mindful learning over a long journey, we will gradually reach the fourth vow, attaining the fruition of peace and happiness in our minds, regardless of how external circumstances change. See you in the next video as we continue to explore the fourth vow of Buddhism that Buddhists are practicing to bring peace to many people. The journey in the game of the breath will become more and more fascinating if you truly cherish it. This practice, just like a habit, is a key to unlocking every doorway within your body and mind. So keep watching and keep practicing with me in this video and the ones to come. If you have any thoughts or reflections, feel free to leave a comment below. And if this video helped or inspired you, please click like, subscribe, and